The notes for 2b and 2c are kind of combined, even though it looks like they're separate two cells, but they really are combined. And we're going to do these notes in a couple little groupings just to help us keep everything straight. So when we talk about lines, we talk about, not only how do you write the equation, how do you identify different things in those lines, how do you graph those lines, and this should be, I hope, mostly a review from algebra. So the first type, or the first form we're going to use, is slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. That should be very clear in your head from algebra. The m is the slope, and the b is the y-intercept. So on these first ones, they give us a graph and they want us to write the equation in slope-intercept form. So I basically need two things to write the equation. I need the slope and I need the intercept. So when I look at this picture, I can see that it intercepts the y-axis at -3. And the slope, I'm going to have to, because it's on a graph, I have to use the counting method. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. So that is 4 over 2, which is 2. Now, when I plug that into the slope formula, the x and the y stay there, and I substitute in for m and for b. So this would be the equation of that line. Next one, same process. So I always start with b, so that's at -2. The slope, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So +4, -5. So -4/5. When I write my equation, y equals m x plus or minus b. You could put -2 or plus -2. Both are acceptable. So for this one, so m is going to be +1, 1, 2, 3, -3. So -1/3. The y-intercept is here at 0. It's where it crosses the y-axis. So my formula, or my equation, is going to be y equals -1/3 x, and I could leave it just like that, or I could put a +0. Okay, this is probably the best way. The second part is I want to be able to graph a line when I'm given that line in slope-intercept form. So to graph, I just need two things. I need to know the slope, which I can identify right here as 5 over 4. And I can identify the y-intercept, which is b, is at -1. I'm going to use these two facts to help me graph my line. So you start at the y-intercept because that's easy to find. It's going to go right through there. From that point, not anywhere else, don't restart or anything. From that point, I count out the slope. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's another point on my line. Connect those two, and I've graphed that line. Slope-intercept form, the slope, if there's no number in front of that, that's a 1. So the slope's going to be -1. And the y-intercept is going to be here at 6. So I'm going to start there at 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that is a point that's on my line. And when I count out slope with just a single number, I have to remember this is also -1 over 1. So that means from this point I'm going to go down 1, there's my negative, and over 1, positive, there's another point that's on my line. These two are kind of close. So there would be the line for that point. Excuse me, that equation. On here, the value in front of the x, that's the slope, so 2, or 2 over 1 when I go to count it out. And since there's nothing behind it, that's like a 0, so the y-intercept is going to cross through 0. So it's going to go right here. I'm going to count out my slope, 1, 2, 1. And that's my graph of the line. Y equals 2x. It should be a little bit closer like that. Okay, so that's our first part 1, dealing with the slope-intercept form.